Hello, dear friends of Jesus. It's Dr. Abby on Tell Me the Stories of Jesus, and it's the month of July. Yes, we're fully into summer. And yes, we've been talking about the mighty acts, the deeds of God, our Almighty God, things that you can never explain with science, you can never explain with logic. And those are ways in which He comes through for us. And why are we discussing it? These are stories in the Bible that you and I can go back to and read and use to strengthen our faith and apply in different areas of our lives. Okay, that's why we're discussing it. That's why I'm telling you about it. Some of you don't know it. It's the first for some of you, but together we learn and we get better as friends of God. So today we're talking about a story in Matthew. Remember the first 2 Sundays we talked about stories in the Old Testament, and we said the last 2 Sundays in July we'll talk about stories in the New Testament. So already we know the axe head can float. What else do we know? We can get money, coin from the mouth of the fish. And what else? Farming can become surplus. So a time of lack, 1 minute, and the next minute you are in so much abundance. And today it's walking on water. Has anyone tried it before? Please don't try it. Don't try it. Make sure there is an adult around. So it's Matthew chapter 14 from verses 22 to 33. Now, the story before then was that Jesus had fed the 5,000, remember? And he now wanted them to go home. He wanted them to be there to disperse them, to go home. So whilst he was doing that, because he's a very responsible leader, he wanted to make sure that they had all gone safely. He told his friends like you and I, the disciples, he told them to go in the boat and cross to the other side. So they were going to the other side. That's the mission. That's the instruction. And they had to travel by boat. At times we travel in the car by land. At times we travel by rail. At times we fly. Friends of Jesus were going to go by boat that night, that evening. And whilst they were gone, he was making sure that the crowd went home. And after the crowd had gone home, he took some time out. He went up the mountain. He went to pray. And then he was just, by himself, me time, which we like from time to time. So the disciples were on the boat. And then the scriptures makes us to know that the water, there started to be, the wind, the water, it was troubled, there was storm. It says that there was, the water became like an adversary. The water troubled the boat, so the boat couldn't go to the other side smoothly. In fact, it looked like they were going to sink. You can imagine when there is a storm and everything is blowing, the wind is blowing, the waters are going whoosh, 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 water is getting into the boat, and they were scared. And at that time, it says the 4th hour, that means 4 a.m., if we would interpret it. That means the middle of the night. So Jesus came. And the Bible makes us to know, Jesus, he's the Son of the Almighty God. He's God himself. He walked on water. Like the axe said, metal does not float. It goes down. We don't walk on water. I know there's some swimming stunt where you waddle in water, but your feet never, ever will walk on water as if it was land. That's not science. But Jesus did it. The mighty acts of God. And when they saw Jesus coming, walking on water, because it is something that is not normal, it is not done, they honestly thought it was a ghost, and they yelled, they shouted, they were afraid. And he told them to be calm. It's I. So they heard his voice. They knew his voice. So they believed that it was him. And they were calm. And Peter is a very forward disciple. Some of you are like that, very bold. Peter said, Master, if it is you, I want to do the same thing. I want to walk on water. And Jesus said, come. And Peter came out of the boat. Trust me. He started to walk on water also. just as he wanted and as Jesus had said, come. Look at my bowl of water. I've been trying just for my leg to just stay on top of it and not sink. It's not been possible. I've tried and tried and tried. It's not working. But in the Bible, when Jesus told Peter, come, and he came out, he walked. And as he was walking towards Jesus, what happened? He then looked at the wind that was blowing. He looked at the waters, the storm, and suddenly he got afraid. Suddenly he doubted. And immediately that started. He started to sink. The legs started to go down. And he shouted again. He knows how to shout, doesn't he? Master! And Master stretched out his hands. Jesus stretched out his hands, pulled him, helped him. And they went in the boat together. And Jesus said, why did you doubt? You know, it was because he doubted, he started to sink. And then together, they went and crossed to the other side. And the Bible makes us know that everyone in the boat, they started to worship Jesus as in, truly, you are the Son of God. And that brings us to the end of our story today. The mighty acts and deed of God, walking on water. Apart from the Bible, I've never seen it, I've never heard of it. So it is something science can never ever, I'm still waiting. Science can't explain it. The nearest to it is when you put on some funny shoes and then you start to surf, but just your bare feet, walk water, no. So what lessons have we learned? So Jesus told his disciples to cross to the other side, yeah? He gave them a command, he gave them a mission. The same way he tells us what to do. But make sure, whatever you're doing in life, make sure it is Jesus that has told you to do it. Because when trouble comes, you need to have backing. And our backing as friends of God is Jesus. Number one, make sure, you know we've always said it, ask from God. Make sure it's Jesus sending you on that errand. And then the next thing, the waters, the sea is supposed to help them to get to the other side. And then it was like that same water was now against them, wanted to sink them. And that happens in life. Let's say Jesus tells you, go to school, you know, go and do this, go on that school trip, go and do, and you expect everything to be smooth. For that thing to go on well in school, okay, let's say God says, go and compete for the race in your inter-house sport, run for your team, run for your house. And then imagine that it's the same people from your house that start to boo you. Boo! That's not normal. That's not nice, yeah? And you're like, God, but you told me to compete. How come the people that are supposed to help me and hail me on and clap for me, how come they are the ones that are pulling me down? The same water was going to drown them, and they felt all alone. So there are times in life, God has told us to do something, but suddenly you feel all alone. No, he's not left you. Jesus went on the mountain to pray. He went on the mountain to have a me time, but he knew he had sent them on an errand, and he knew he was going to meet them and he will come through for them. So whenever it's lonely, don't be afraid, but make sure that you always know how to hear from God. Because when they screamed and yelled and thought it was a ghost, when Jesus said it is I, they knew his voice. In that dark fourth hour, when it was so dark and lonely, they knew his voice and they calmed down. And you know, we've said in the past before, as long as you're not rude and being silly, you can talk to God, talk to Jesus. He's our friend. God is our Father. So Peter said, I want to do the same thing you're doing. Yeah? So you've seen it that Jesus heals. As long as your motive is also right, you're not doing it for show off. Jesus, I want to be able to lay hands on somebody and let them be healed. Jesus, I want to be able to provide to help somebody who is poor. And he will give you, you know, everything, the resources that you need. So you can always ask, like Peter did, Jesus, if it is you, can I come? It helps you to build your faith. It helps you when there is any other scenario like that. You know that God will come through for you. You will apply your faith and go with it. And Jesus said, come. Peter did not leave that boat until Jesus said, come. Always wait for instructions from God. They're friends of Jesus. Don't do anything to impress anybody or to impress yourself. We must always be led and guided by God. So Jesus said, come, right? Jesus says, run that race. Go for that competition. Go on, go. And you're going. And you're doing so well. It's almost like when you're running. You know, when you're running, you have to focus in ahead of you to the end where you want to win. If you look at the hailing crowd, that's it. Somebody else will overtake you, or you fall down, or you lose concentration. So imagine that's what happened to Peter that day. Yeah, he looked at everything around him. If you look at the people that are booing you, or the ones that are not praising you, or the ones that are not, you know, when you look at things around you, it can pull you down. This mighty act of God is between you and God. Yeah, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. He's our Father. He's the person, you know, we have our primary assignment with. So that's why Peter was going to sink, because he looked at the things. You know, you start to doubt. If I want to bring it home, God has promised you something, and you were believing. Okay, God has said you're traveling abroad. You're believing. Until you're like, oops, have they paid mommy's salary? It's none of your business. He has said you're traveling abroad. It might not be mommy's salary that is needed or daddy's salary. It might be an uncle. It might be a grant. You might win an award. Have you seen those things that you win and they say you and 4 members of your family? You know, anything. Just focus on that promise. Because he has promised, he will never, ever fail. And so, but if it then happens that you look at the things around you and you're sinking, please cry out. God does not mind. He will not get deaf. Cry out to Jesus. Don't cry out to your friends. So you're running and running in that race, that competition, and they are booing you. Rather than look at them and say, why are you booing me? Louder, hail me. You don't need it. Just focus on the goal. Just continue to run. Let your results speak for you. Yes? So you cry out to Jesus. You're not crying out to your friends. You don't have money. You're not saying, maybe I should go and meet Bobby to borrow me. Yeah? You don't have shoes. You're not saying, maybe I should. Just say, God, provide. I don't know how you'll do it. It might still be the same Bobby that God will bring to give you the shoes. But focus on Jesus. When your faith is natural, is normal, that at times we might miss it and make mistakes, and you've looked and you're yelling and you're sinking, Master, help me. And Jesus will help you. Together with Jesus, you will make it to that destination. You will get that thing. You will make that thing he wants you to get. And what is, you know, all these mighty acts of God, mighty deeds of God, it's to the end that the name of the Lord may be glorified. Yeah, they worshipped Jesus and said, yes, truly, you are the Son of God. And that brings us to the end of that beautiful story. I'll continue to dip my leg in the water in this bowl. Let me see if it will stay. But remember, the instruction is for you and you alone, and you go with it. The instruction for me might not be the one for Uncle Maxwell, might not be the one for Bobby, might not be the one for Ava. It's your personal walk with God, and keep holding on tightly to him. Until next Sunday, which is August, and guess what? We'll be talking more about the mighty, mighty acts of God. There's so many. Keep trusting God and holding on tightly to him. It's Dr. Abby, and tell me the stories of Jesus. Bye. Uncle, please, 3. Help me loud.